This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
What a beautiful day to be alive. My debt is paid and more money arrives. The fridge is full and there's plenty of ice for a fireside chat with anyone I like. What a beautiful day, good to be here, when almost everyone has disappeared. When almost everyone is waiting in line, it's good to meet you in this world of mine.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. We are live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on AchieveRadio.com and also on the iTunes podcasting system. For those of you who are podcasting with us and downloading this on a regular basis, we welcome you once again to the show. So thrilled that you've joined us whenever you're coming to this information, and we hope that your state of mind is such that you are able to relax and allow and receive the information that we're going to share with you this evening on the show via the wisdom of Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is a doctor and a naturopath, and she has authored over 35 books, including The Magnesium Miracle, which is something you may be very familiar with on Amazon. But, you know, one great thing about Dr. Dean is she actually is a complete and total lifesaver. And I was thinking today, gosh, is there anything more incredible than somebody telling you, you have saved my life? I mean, maybe we throw that phrase around a little bit too much, but honestly, in the case of some people that Dr. Dean's lives have been touched, I think they're serious, and this is a legitimate thing and probably very important to them because due to their circumstances and their health situation, they were literally on the verge of death. And when you're teetering on the precipice of death and your heart is not operating properly or your kidneys are shutting down or you feel like your body is betraying you in some way, it's a very sobering place to be. And a lot of people have to get to that place to make new choices. And when they do, the thing that we hear over and over again is, I was given this ultimatum by my doctor. I didn't want to be on these drugs. I started doing my research, and I looked and I found you, Dr. Dean, and I started your protocol. I started gobbling up all your words of wisdom. I started listening to your radio show. I read your books, and my life has changed, and you have saved my life. To me, ladies and gentlemen, really, that is probably the highest honor that you can give one person to another. So we say this evening, namaste. It's Dr. Carolyn Dean. The God in me acknowledges the God in you, and the wisdom that she has, the extraordinary wisdom and the compassion to do this every Monday night as she has for years, and to also write her books and give out her information for free so that people have half a chance at stepping outside this large, monolithic, weird, dystopian medical system we have, and our corporate food system, and our processed this and all the rest of it, and actually have half a chance at health. I honor her again this evening. So we're happy to bring her on board, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to be with you for 2 hours. She's going to open up her show with her comments and thoughts on tonight's topic. We're going to move into taking live phone calls. I highly recommend you talk to her if you're on the phone. Even if you just want to talk to her and say, Dr. Dean, thank you for making a difference in my life, or if you have questions for her, and then we're going to do mailbag. We've got so much to do. We've got recipes to share, testimonials to do. I mean, we have a busy 2 hours planned, so we're glad you're on board with us. And listen, once again, welcome to your show. Dr. Dean, thank you for who you are and all you do. Is she here? Where is she? Uh-oh. Dr. Dean? Dr. Dean?
I'm here.
There you are.
Yay. It gave me a chance to just sort of fan my face from the flush of all the kudos you gave me. I get so kerflunked, or whatever they call it, kerflimped. Yeah, I appreciate what you say, Jenny. I just don't think it's about me half the time. But I appreciate my team, and it's interesting. Ginny had this incredible outpouring of saving lives and everything, but we all know you save your own life. We just point the way. So I don't want to take on the responsibility of being your savior. You do save yourself. I think what we do is give hope to people. I wrote this out. I wanted to say it at some point in the show today, but it's a perfect time now after Ginny's introduction. Medicine wants us to give up hope and just trust them to make all our health decisions when they are the least equipped to help us. It's an unsustainable situation that many people are realizing, most of all our team, our customer service team, and our customers. So I want to give our team and our customers a big appreciation, big hugs, big aloha, because we are all working together. Phew. So thank you, Ginny.
Phew. You're welcome. And we have amazing team and our lovely warehouse staff too that gets things out in super quick fashion because some people can't be without their products. They need them. And we're very grateful. And yes, I understand what you're saying about, yeah, I agree. But you do save people's lives, Carolyn. So let's just keep that in perspective. All right. So What are we going to talk about tonight?
We'll start with your blog. Great topic. Ginny's blog that you can find at carolyndeanlive.com along with our radio show archives. And the blog, we're talking about hormone balance and yeast overgrowth, how they go together. And there's a couple of emails that came in that inspired this topic. One of our customers writes, I've used your products for a while and just added some after watching your video on the keto diet. I've already been doing a keto diet for 2 years, about 90% of the time. I didn't really need to lose weight. I just felt miserable when I eat carbs, and then when I start eating them, I overeat them. Now, let me just stop right there, because when we hear someone saying carbs, they love carbs, they're, quote, addicted to carbs, and then they feel yucky, what's that? That's yeast overgrowth right there. That's it. And you can starve yourself from carbs and try to kill your yeast, but you usually need more effort against your yeast. That's where we came up with the yeast detox diet, the yeast detox solutions with psyllium bentonite and some natural antifungals. So that's the answer right there, but we'll continue with the blog, the instructive parts of the blog, because what happens with this, with our customer here, is she said, I have a question about hormones. I'm 34. She said, is this affecting my hormones? I think she means is the keto diet, or is this business about the carbs affecting her hormones? I get awful mood swings during my cycle. I get night sweats and breakouts. And then my actual cycle is maybe a half of a day and very light. Do you have any information on regulating hormones while on the keto diet? I try to use Remag and Remite every day. Of course, when I hear people saying that, I know they're not using Remag and Remite every day. And that's important, too. Especially with the Remag, if you're taking it for a couple days, don't take it for a day or so, your body gets on this kind of roller coaster. It's gotten used to having some magnesium to run those 700, 800 different metabolic processes. You stop it for a day or two, then it starts to feel withdrawal. You're actually creating magnesium withdrawal, and you'll start getting magnesium deficiency type symptoms, and then you'll put that in with your general I'm not feeling well scenario. So be consistent. Magnesium is a food that you need to eat every day, and if you don't, you will feel the effects. It's not that you're addicted to magnesium or addicted to Remag. It's just that that's what your body needs, like air and food and water. She says, I do use the Realign and the RNA drops sparingly. I just ordered the Total Body Reset Kit, hoping following the directions will help my hormone levels. And Ginny then continues, it's easy to land the blame for hormone irregularity on diet or exercise, but there's another source of irregularity that many doctors and healthcare professionals aren't even aware of, and that is this yeast overgrowth. And since 1986, I've been working with yeast. It's a subtle yet complex biological condition in which the yeast fungus that lives in your intestines grows uncontrollably, producing 178 chemical toxins capable of making you feel dizzy, fatigued, causing you to crave sugar and alcohol, shutting down your thyroid, and throwing your hormones off balance. All the concerns that our customer reports. Yeast overgrowth is one of the diseases of modern civilization, the culmination of the side effects of technology and the disservices of our way of life. And it's a contributing factor to a list of chronic diseases. I say regularly that most chronic diseases are a combination of mineral deficiencies, especially magnesium deficiency, and yeast overgrowth. It's that simple. This is where we start. We don't go to esoteric supplements ever, usually, before we look at all the minerals and the yeast overgrowth. And then Ginny goes into the downside of antibiotics is allowing this yeast to overgrow. Yeast overgrowth has been around for decades, ever since the use of antibiotics. One of the many organisms that live in our mouth, digestive tract, vagina, and skin. Now, Ginny has it. There's 400 organisms that live in our mucous membrane areas. There are estimates of the species of organisms in our body that vary quite widely. We used to say that there were 10 times the number of organisms in our body compared to body cells. But they've been working on the human microbiome project, and now they really do think there are more like 1-to-1. It really doesn't make much difference. People just use these numbers to, get kind of a wow from their readers. But the fact is that there are trillions of these organisms. They can be thrown out of balance by antibiotics, and then they feed off sugar, which then will overgrow, especially the yeast organisms that cannot be killed by antibiotics. So Ginny ends with, excuse me, there's some bikers down below me. The beast, Candida albicans, growing wildly inside our bodies, is an epidemic out of control. Many people, if they think of it at all, imagine yeast just as a pesky vaginal infection and that a treatment of vaginal cream will cure it overnight. Unfortunately, that's just not the case for millions of people, especially women who suffer an astonishing array of health complaints from yeast overgrowth, yeast allergy, and buildup of yeast toxins. So I answered this customer right away, saying that since yeast toxins dramatically affect the hormones, that is the first thing to investigate. My yeast book will help you decide if yeast is a problem. And for parasites, I probably told her a little bit about parasites can also harbor a lot of toxins. I do have a section in the yeast book about using diatomaceous earth for parasites. So parasites it's not something I really want to get into with people. The best way to diagnose parasites is by giving a live stool sample or fresh stool sample to an experienced microbiologist who looks at the stool under a microscope and sees the live parasites. And it's very difficult to diagnose parasites. that's why I do say to people who suspect they have parasites that maybe periodically they should look at kind of deworming themselves. Deworming is a word used in the animal kingdom, where regularly you can give, well, it's probably a drug to cats or dogs to help deworm them. I think humans can learn a lesson from that. I personally will put a teaspoon of diatomaceous earth in my psyllium bentonite concoction about once a week. And I just imagine that that's helping any parasite overgrowth I may have gotten into since the previous week. So that was my answer. And I guess with the hormones, people will say, well, it's just such a difficult topic. I've been to doctors. They give me all kinds of different advice, or they don't give me any advice. But right I don't know if it was in the same day, but we had another customer who emailed, and she said, thank you. The good news is that I actually have gotten my period again. My doctors told me I was going through early menopause at age 29, and after doing REMAG, my period has returned after being gone for 4 years. It's really unbelievable. It's pretty miraculous, actually, considering every doctor told me the same thing. I'm actually wondering if my period starting could be dropping my magnesium a little bit. Since my body's not used to having one, I'm thinking it might need some time to adjust. So I answered that, and I said, yes, that's quite possible. More magnesium is used up around the premenstrual time with all the hormones shifting and during the period. That's why more magnesium is required for women for PMS and dysmenorrhea, painful periods. She continues, I don't remember reading in Dr. Dean's books, but can blood loss from menstruation cause magnesium loss as well? I know it can be lost through sweat, so I was wondering if the same could be lost through having a period. And I said, not so much the blood loss, but the extra hormones created and the shifting uses up more magnesium in all those extra biochemical reactions. And she just ends, thank you again. Please feel free to use my testimony. It's really a miraculous thing. My doctor and naturopath were shocked, as well as my IV doctor. Thanks for your help. So that was awesome. And Ginny, I'm going to come back to you now because I don't think, maybe my email was blocked, but I don't think we received many email questions about the blog. What do you think?
I think that's right. Yeah, Melody Rose did not send us a lot of questions. So I think that's, I don't know, interesting. Maybe it's good. A lot of our people may already have, had their experience of really getting these things under control, because I know we get a lot of testimonials about hormones. A lot of women, especially using the Remite, getting off their bioidentical hormones. So I think, maybe we've just had a lot of success with it already, and maybe people don't have as many questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hormones are quite fascinating. I remember when I was in my first years of private practice, people would come about their thyroid, for example, and I do the testing and put them on Armour thyroid like I learned in my naturopathic training. And the endocrinologists, they were shocked, and some of them were horrified because they'd accepted the notion that Armour thyroid was dangerous and it wasn't standardized. And, that was information from decades ago, but everything is standardized now. But then I made the leap even away from natural thyroid hormone replacement when I worked with the Remite, and it was kind of serendipitous. Necessity is the mother of invention, I guess, because I had to make the remag for my own condition, and I said, well, if we could make 100% absorbed magnesium, let's look at the other minerals. So the remite became a combination of minerals that it turns out 9 of the 12 support the thyroid function. So in the year that I was working with my remite before we put it on the market, I found that my thyroid function improved. I no longer needed my Armour thyroid just from using the 9 minerals that support thyroid hormone production. It was a huge breakthrough. I mean, what it taught me was that the structure and the function of the body, if we can support that naturally, we can allow the body to heal itself. And when we talk about the so-called miracles of the products, we're not talking about treating disease. We are talking about treating mineral and vitamin deficiencies with our products. Even getting people to drink more water and put sea salt in the water. We're not treating disease. We're just treating simple dehydration that seems to create so much more balance in the body and allows the body to work better. So that's we'll take questions about hormones throughout the show, but I'm going to now move to the blogs that I've had posted this last week. We usually just do 2 a week, but somehow every once in a while it's like one week and 3 another week. It depends on my focus and whether I can get the blogs out there. But there were a couple of really good blogs this past week. Let me just find the first one here. The furthest one back, January 21st, is Frailty Syndrome Magnesium Deficiency. Now, this may have come the day before our last show, but I don't remember talking about it. And even if I did, I'll talk about it again because I think it's the whole mismanagement of people's health that medicine keeps going through that makes them want to create a new diagnosis. They're creating this diagnosis of frailty syndrome. They say it's an emerging clinical problem in the everyday management of clinical arrhythmias. So when I hear arrhythmias, I think magnesium deficiency, so I get all excited. And this is a survey put out by the European Heart Rhythm Association. Now, this is part of the same organization that gave me an award in 2012 for my contribution to rhythm management using magnesium. So I was interested, are they going to talk about magnesium finally and this frailty syndrome? You can find this blog on my main website, drcarolyndean.com. So I looked for a definition of frailty syndrome, and it's apparently a condition seen particularly in older patients characterized by low functional reserve, easy tiring, decreased libido, mood disturbance, accelerated osteoporosis, decreased muscle strength, and high susceptibility to disease. And, of course, I'm thinking of total body meltdown. I mean, a lot of those characteristics are what we hear from our customers. In fact, I might not take the time to go over it, but there was this, very long customer question that came in from someone who just, everything bad happened to this woman, and then all the medications, and then more and more illnesses, and then she started taking a different form of magnesium, and she started to think, well, maybe I can get better. So we have the frailty syndrome represented to us all the time in our customers. So in the blog, I continue. I think this syndrome has been invented because telling a patient that their health decline is because of their age must no longer be politically correct. It's also a way of continuing to blame the patient for being the problem, not medicine for their failure to help people with this syndrome, and certainly letting medicine off the hook for potentially creating the frailty syndrome with a lifetime of medications and misdiagnosis of mineral and other nutrient deficiencies. So it's a good blog. You either got it in your email or you can check it out online. I talk about the aging process in the population, how doctors do just say, well, you know, you're over 50, so what can you expect? And then, well, you're over 60, oh, you're over 70, and that's their answer. What I did refer to is a much more enlightened approach to aging is found in the 2014 paper co-authored by Drs. Burton and Bella Altura. It's got a long title. I have it in my Magnesium Miracle book. Short-term magnesium deficiency downregulates telomerase, upregulates neutral sphingomyelinase, and induces oxidative DNA damage in cardiovascular tissues. Relevance to the atherogenesis, cardiovascular diseases, and aging. You can look up the title on my Dr. Carolyn Dean website and Google it and download the whole article. And they have to, these folks, they have to put everything in the title now or people just won't look at it. And the little overview I have is aging is now agreed to be critical in the etiology of metabolic decline in most subjects as they close in on their 65th birthday. The increase in atherosclerosis, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes. It is thus of considerable interest in the Burton and Bella's paper to remind the reader that all these attributes have been associated both experimentally and clinically with the presence of magnesium-deficient states where they have been looked for and measured properly, and that means with the ionized magnesium test. The aging process is also associated with an increase in the levels of pro-inflammatory cytokinins in tissues and cells, all present in magnesium-deficient animals, tissues, and different cell types. With 47% of the population below 70, frailty syndrome is not a disease of the elderly. It's a disease of people who don't have the proper nutrients to support the structure and function of their body. So there are more words. I deconstructed the symptoms. You know, the low functional reserve means lack of nutrients, easy tiring, lack of magnesium, decreased libido, yeast affecting the sex hormones, and lack of other minerals, mood disturbance, magnesium and mineral deficiency, accelerated osteoporosis, too much calcium, not enough magnesium, decreased muscle strength, magnesium deficiency, the high susceptibility to disease. We work on that with our Realign, with the methylated yeast and the glutathione. So frailty syndrome, as I said, we're probably looking at total body health, and we have ways of helping people get back their structure and function so they don't fall into that category. The second blog, Medicine Can't Treat Obesity, I got the impetus to do this blog when I was reading through a slide presentation titled Obesity, How to Diagnose and Treat an Epidemic on Medscape. The authors say that caloric restriction, self-monitoring, patient preference, brackets, listening to what the patient wants to do, and a program adherence is more important than any specific diet. So here I am, hot off the presses with my my Reset Your ideal body weight and the ketogenic fasting webinar we did, and find that medicine is still pushing the low-calorie diet without any scientific support for it working. And in the rest of the blog, I talk about Jason Fung, the nephrologist in Canada who really put together a lot of the research on the intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet, and just the basics of the keto diet is to stay within 20 to 50 grams of carbohydrates per day, and keep in the ketosis zone using keto urine sticks to make sure you're still making ketones as a way of following your diet. I've had so much good feedback about people on the keto diet, and maybe we'll call it a modified keto diet, because most people were on the yeast detox diet and they just added more fatty foods. The third blog, restless legs and heart disease. This is something I've written about before, restless legs. I wrote an article once that it was a kind of a created disease where doctors create disease and offer the drug cure. And I did get some blowback on that because people said, I have this horrible condition and you're saying it's not real. And I'm saying it's real because it's likely magnesium deficiency. I talked about the treatment that allopathic medicine gives. They talk about drugs. They do say that maybe people have iron deficiency, but they've never been able to prove that when they do blood testing. So it's a short article. It's a short blog at drcarolyndean.com. I got a lot of good feedback on that of people who said I took magnesium for my twitchy, restless legs, and I'm much better. And that's sort of your own scientific experiment, even though the FDA would say if we have 1,000 testimonials saying that Remag helps such and such a condition, they don't even consider it. They don't listen to that. But you will listen because you will have the benefit, and then you'll tell us, and we'll pass on the information saying that, yes, we're just treating the magnesium deficiency, which is a structure and function problem. So that's my overview, and I'm going over to Ginny now to see what she has to say.
Excellent overview. Excellent. Yes, I think we've had a lot of people reporting great success on the total, ideal reset your ideal weight, which is a combination of the keto, the intermittent fasting, and also using the products. Now, as I started digging into this, and I might have mentioned this, Carolyn, one thing that I have found out is a lot of people who are attracted to this keto are attracted in part because they have some kind of insulin resistance or metabolic disorder that is causing them to have, blood sugar issues, pre-diabetic conditions, inflammatory responses in the body. And it's interesting because they do start on the ketosis and, these things start to come into alignment, but they still are mineral deficient. And a lot of these blogs and things, people are writing that it takes them months to sort out that they still need to add magnesium and minerals, and some of them are adding more salt because once you stop taking in all those carbohydrates, they need the salt. So they actually need to remineralize. So our people who've been on our products for a while and then start this keto or any kind of diet modification have such much better results is they're not having these problems.
Right. Yeah, excellent point. Yes, because we wonder sometimes, are we just hypnotizing people so that they think they're better? Because when we suggest something, it's like overnight, boom, they're better. But yes, if they're already on the program, then their body can sustain a shift, like changing their diet up, or they don't have the detox symptoms from because they've been on the Realign and the Remag, which are excellent detoxifiers. So they can stick with the diet, whereas other people who get the detox on the keto diet, they could just stop and then report that the diet didn't work for them.
Right, and one thing that I think too is that the role of magnesium in insulin regulation. This is very, very important because people are wanting to accomplish it through ketosis, but it's difficult for some people to get and to stay in it, and it's even more difficult for women. And I think that part of it is, too, this whole thing about not having proper magnesium, and they're not getting the fruits and vegetables, to add to because they're missing out on certain kind of things, and then they, are not as successful. So I think people definitely must. Remag is non-negotiable when it comes to insulin and glucose regulation. Non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm. Remag, yeah, remag.
Remag, yes, remag. Okay, let's see who's on the chitty chat line and what they're saying.
Yep.
Okay, now we have Laura, who's a new listener, and she's asking what do we think of the keto diet. So I think we might have said a few words there that would kind of tip our hand to let you know, Laura, that Dr. Dean is into it. But Carolyn, do you want to say some more words?
No, Laura, best to go to our webinar that we did a couple weeks ago, or go to drcarolyndeanlive.com under books. I think Chad would have has he put up the Reset Your Ideal Weight on Dr. Carolyn Dean Live?
Yep, the books are up, and we have, they can actually email support, and we've got the books and the gifts and the webinar and everything all in one page. So Chad's already done that. Just email support, SUPPORT at RNA Reset, and in the subject line just put keto book, and I'll send you all the stuff.
Yeah, so it's rather than just giving you, you've already gotten some little tidbits that we talked about, because every week now we get testimonials about how well the diet is doing for people, and Jenny just explained the reason why is because we support people with their minerals right away. And I do say that in the book, that one of the things that people experience on the keto diet is muscle cramps, and some of the sites, like Jenny said, will say, oh, yeah, you got to take an Epsom salts bath, or when you get the cramps, take an Epsom salts bath. No, don't even wait to get the cramps. Take your Remag beforehand so that you never get crampy, because if you are at the point where your muscles are cramping, who knows what else is going on in your metabolism, like as Jenny was saying, the insulin resistance. Insulin depends on magnesium. So this is where, we just trump this whole diet because we have people supporting their structure and function right from the get-go. Right, Jenny?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you got to have that. You've got to have that. Now let's see. Also, Laura asked, if you have Hashimoto's, are the minerals safe to take, being that there's iodine in them?
I'm going to Google Hashimoto's and my name, because what I say about questions like that, Laura, and you're new to the chat, but what I say is Google Hashimoto's, Dr. Dean, and maybe magnesium as well. And I have blogs, Thyroid Confusion 2012, Your Thyroid Needs 9 Minerals, Magnesium and Mineral Deficiency Effects on the Thyroid, magnesium minerals and the thyroid. Hashimoto's disease, there it is. So what I say about Hashimoto's is with the iodine, the reason why people are concerned about it is iodine can stimulate more thyroid hormone production. However, if you also support the thyroid with selenium and you don't use high-dose iodine, in the Remite, it's just got the RDA of iodine. And then if you support the iodine with selenium, it helps metabolize the buildup of precursor hormones along the kind of chemical timeline toward your thyroid hormone, your final thyroid hormones. So this whole business of overstimulation by iodine is balanced out by having the other the other minerals that are necessary in the pathways. So hopefully that makes sense. You could read more about it in the Remite Recalcia book at CarolynDeanLive.com to understand some more of the biochemistry. So I don't know about Laura specifically. She should listen to her doctor or listen to her own intuition about this. But if you do take the Remite, just take it and take it slowly. See how your body responds. Your body is the best source of information about the nutrients it needs.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Joyce says, types in, I'm afraid my 17-year-old daughter may be struggling with yeast overgrowth, but she will not voluntarily start the RNA reset program. Is there guidance for markers for doctor could test to determine?
No. It's horrible, but there's no testing. Even when I was in private practice, I did hire someone to teach my staff blood testing for yeast antibodies and all that. But the problem was everybody has yeast antibodies, and it's like you have to know what were your yeast antibodies last year to know if today's yeast antibodies are either worse or better. So there's no yes-no about yeast, and I don't really necessarily trust the stool testing for yeast. What I do trust is the yeast questionnaire. What you can do is sit down with your daughter and go over the yeast questionnaire and show her what symptoms she may be having that are related to yeast. And I guess you can't force her to do anything, but you can educate her. So in the book, Reset the Yeast Connection, you can find that questionnaire.
Very good. Excellent. Now, Diane's typing in and says, I think I may have yeast overgrowth. When you say avoid dairy, do you include eggs and butter, or is it just dairy with cow's milk, or all dairy including sheep and goat cheese?
It's lactose in the dairy that's the problem. So eggs don't have lactose. Just go from there. Look at you can even look at low lactose cheeses. I'm amazed once I'm on the keto diet, so I've gone back to dairy. But what I have is non-lactose cheese list in the keto book. And I'm not getting yeast. What is happening though, what's interesting is all this awesome cheese and heavy whipping cream that I'm eating and some kefir. I'm needing a little more magnesium because I'm getting more calcium. So look at that as a possibility for people on the keto diet, that you might need a little more REMAG. Do you think that answers Diane's question, Ginny?
Yes, I do. I think that does. Yeah, just stay away from the because you've explained before, Carolyn, that the milk sugars is what you're avoiding, the sugars, and like whole cream doesn't have the milk sugars in it and that kind of thing. Right. Carolyn, what you just said also made me think of the calcium. what about this whole thing? I've gotten so into reading all this keto stuff, trying to understand it. What about this whole thing about sucking down all that coffee? Here's another reason, like keto people. I see these keto posts coming through my Instagram feed, and these people are getting these venti Starbucks and loading them up with, I don't know, whatever's in them, some cream and maybe coconut oil or something. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, people, don't do that. Or if you are, you've got to get some more magnesium, right?
Definitely. It does remind me of, the raw food people, the vegan, vegetarians, the smoothie drink people, where they say, you can eat all the fruit you want because it's natural, especially if it's organic. And then they get this whole overload of fructose. And fructose is very hard for the liver to digest, and it uses up twice the magnesium. So you've got now in the keto world, because someone, Bulletproof Coffee, they decided to spike their coffee with, as you mentioned, coconut oil or even MCT oil. They sell this, gross oil. I don't know if it's gross, but to put in the coffee to make coffee healthy. But they're really pulling the wool over their own eyes, because coffee still has all that caffeine. It's still a diuretic. It's still going to pull out your minerals, especially your magnesium, and it still has that kick for your heart, for, all our poor people who are trying to get over their palpitations and atrial fibrillation. So, do not be confused about this.
Yeah. So, it's kind of trendy or whatever. I don't know what that, but I don't think it's, I agree completely. I was just like, oh my gosh, people, slow down. Okay. Yes, and you know what I found out, too, about the whole thing about eating all the fruit and stuff is apparently the time of year to eat fruit for mammals is before winter, and that's to bulk up on your fat so that you can survive the winter. And, so you're supposed to, you're not eating fruit year-round back in the day. Remember that? You were only eating it in the fall, and then you were only eating a little bit. Now we have it year-round, and this is what's made it so, not really cool. And it's putting weight on people, and it's causing their, insulin resistance and glucose and all kinds of other problems. Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and that's a very perfect way to say it, eating fruit to bulk up their fat stores. And people say, what, fruit? What? But what fruit does is it really stimulates your triglyceride production, stimulates your fats as triglycerides, and then you store them, so you will gain weight with fruit. I remember people telling me that when they went on the diet plan where they would eat fruit all morning and then eat other things without fruit, not combined, I guess it was a food combining diet, their triglycerides would just go through the roof, and they couldn't figure it. But we really got that information kind of scientifically when the high fructose corn syrup came along. And then we saw people with really high triglycerides gaining weight. You'll find the YouTube by, what's his name, the guy who did The Bitter Truth.
Dr. Lustig, Dr. Robert Lustig.
Yeah, I should remember that name. Dr. Lustig. He's a pediatric endocrinologist, and he was just appalled that most of his children with their diabetes were grossly overweight, and they were all on this corn syrup bottle formula. So he really put together a lot of good information. His YouTubes on Sugar, The Bitter Truth are in the millions of viewers. Yeah, 7.5 million viewers. So it's important to understand that you can be advertised to death about these things, these fructose corn syrup sweeteners. When they say it's a fructose sweetener, they're trying to pretend it's like eating good fruit. But yeah, fruit only in season. And on the keto diet, you can have some very nice berries with your heavy whipping cream and just have delicious desserts.
Yummy. Very good. Very good. Okay, here's a question coming in from Shane. Hi, Dr. Dean. My friend is having big issues with psoriasis. Can you talk about how magnesium, minerals, vitamin C, A, and D, and probiotics react with psoriasis? To be clear for the FDA, I'm not asking you to name a product or describe a cure. I just want to know what studies show the relationship to vitamins, minerals, and psoriasis.
I doubt if there are any studies. No one's looking at nutrition and psoriasis that I know, but what I know from my clinical experience is that one of the toxic factors of yeast is a chemical that stimulates psoriasis, and if I'm forgetting it right now, I'll look at the yeast, reset the yeast connection and find out the name of it. It doesn't really matter, but zymogen, Z-Y-M-O-G-E-N, stimulates psoriasis, and it comes from yeast overgrowth. So I tell people with psoriasis to go on the yeast detox, and with our yeast detox, we tell people to go on the complement formulas so they support their structure and function. And there are definitely aspects of the complement formulas, like the Realign, to help detoxify. With psoriasis, you have this incredible high turnover of skin cells. So you're using up a lot of minerals, so therefore you become immune deficient, and therefore you become weakened so that yeast will overgrow. So there's this whole confluence of symptoms that develop when you have yeast overgrowth, when you're creating all these toxins, and then psoriasis is one of the skin symptoms. We all know in customer service that when someone starts on the complement formulas and they start getting skin symptoms, we say, well, that's most likely yeast overgrowth. Go on the program and see how you do. So there.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. Joan says, I had a heavy metal blood test, and it indicated that I have aluminum toxicity. Will Remite help me to detox? Remite. It's more like Remag and Realign. Remite can do something, but I think the best study to read on that would be the Altor study that I mentioned earlier about aging, where they talk about aluminum and aging and magnesium. Actually, in my 2017 edition of Magnesium Miracle, I talk about aluminum toxicity and magnesium. So yeah, the Remag, the Realign for detoxifying, all those things would help. And what I think about heavy metal toxicity is that, we're all subject to it. If you live near a highway, there's still lead in some of these cars. There's a lot of toxins in urban areas, so we're always breathing in and trying to store these toxins in our fat cells. So that's why when people are on the keto diet, breaking down their fat cells, they can experience toxic symptoms from the toxins dumping out of their fat cells and going through the bloodstream and trying to be eliminated. So this is where all the formulas help the body eliminate ongoing toxins. So having been told you have aluminum situation, you don't just focus on it being aluminum. You say, okay, this is an opportunity for me to detoxify everything
in my body, and also to try not to worry about it, not give in to the hopelessness and fear. That reminds me, and I'll say in the 1 minute left before the hour, there's this study now about people who are experiencing depression because they're worried about climate change. So we've got this, there was global warming, let's get scared about that. Now, well, there's no global warming, so I have to call it climate change, and people are actually saying that they're depressed because of it. So you just cannot give in to these factors of a world trying to make you less than, trying to make you fearful so you can be controlled. Just give it up. Do not get involved. Do not listen to the news.
Right. Amen to that. All right, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Our first hour's up. Our second hour, we're taking your live phone calls plus more questions in our mailbag. We'll be right back. Grab some Remag water and take a little bit of a stretch and join us back for hour two in just 90 seconds.
We'll be back with hour two of Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, along with host Ginny Gunther, after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com.
AchieveRadio.com.
Describe the words you know regarding amino acids and our process of ascension. We are trying to get to the marriage supper of the Lamb.
What happens in the blood is you require protein carriers for different things through the blood.
Protein carriers in the blood segue through basically the essence of lysine to change the way that the molecules or the specific gravity of how blood is. If you change its molecular specific gravity, you change how it flows. It's the blood that gives you strength from day to day, and it will never lose its power. The methylation, but it changes the specific, the outcome of the methylation changes the specific gravity of blood. When you start spinning out patients who have been ingesting RNA drops, the specific gravity of their blood will change.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
What a beautiful day to be alive. My debt is paid and more money arrives. The fridge is full and there's plenty of ice for a fireside chat with anyone I like. What a beautiful day, good to be here, when almost everyone has disappeared, when almost everyone is waiting in line. It's good to meet you in this world of mine.
Welcome back, hour two, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here at AchieveRadio.com. It is hard to believe, but we have already sufficiently completed 1 month of the 2018 year. Time, it doesn't even exist anymore. Everything's just a blur. We've had an amazing month, Carolyn, and February we're going into Heart Month, and we've got Valentine's Day and all kinds of good things happening. Can you believe it's already been, like, January's over?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're having fun, though. And we're going to do a heart webinar in January. We were going to do it anyway. I think it's the 15th of February. 15th of February, yes. We're going to do a heart webinar. And, yeah, I think it's very important, and I don't watch the, quote, time passing. I just look for more and more adventures because we're going to live forever. Right, Ginny?
Hey, I know I am. Forget that death stuff. It's stupid. Hey, listen, we've got questions on the board, and also we haven't even put out the phone call, but 602-666-6027 is the number to dial if you want to talk to Dr. Dean this evening. And if you do, please hit *5 on your keypad, *5. We'll raise your hand in the studio and let me know you have a question or comment, and then I will put you on the phone, and you can chitty-chat to your heart's content with Dr. Dean. One of the best medicines there is to talk to Dr. Dean. Let me just say that. Let's see now. Here's a question from Timmy, Carolyn. Can you please help me understand frozen shoulder? I am currently experiencing this condition. My doctor tells me it will last 14 months. Okay, that's weird. And there's nothing I can do about it. I take your magnesium and physical therapy. Is there anything else I can do to try to mobilize my arm again? I love your show.
Okay, so let's look up total biology of frozen shoulder. And yeah, that's unfortunate where a doctor gives their godlike prediction of how long it will last, because if you listen to them, then it might just last that long. And that's their experience, because, they don't use Remeg lotion slathered all over the shoulder. They don't do the exercises. They don't go to a good chiropractor who does what is it that mine does? Myofascial release. What happens with the frozen shoulder is it can be injured, and the tendon at the shoulder can be inflamed, and then it can kind of scar a little bit and get thickened. So then when you try to put your shoulder through a range of motion, then that's going to the tendon's going to try to squeak through the muscles it used to and just cause more pain and tension because it's a bit swollen. And it is a vicious cycle, and the Remeg orally, but also either spraying Remeg solution on the shoulder let it dry for a few minutes and spray another every 5 or 10 minutes and put 4 or 5 layers on. And you'll see that swelling will come down, the internal swelling that you can't even see, the pain will lessen because the body is just crying out for magnesium to help this. Shoulders in the, just looking it up in my notes, talk about the weight on your shoulders. I don't know if I have a better shoulders. Yeah, go ahead.
Which shoulder is it, Timmy? Is it the right or the left? Because doesn't that have something to do with it?
True, that's true. Yeah, she can tell us right or left. I have a note here, shoulders, who I am in my family clan. That doesn't say too much. But I like to think of it as the weight of the world on a person's shoulders. I have sort of neck, shoulder tension a lot. I say it's my computer shoulders, but I'm a quadruple Pisces, and Pisces do hold the weight of the world on their shoulders, and it gives them ankle pain. So that's my excuse. What's yours?
Oh, very good. Now, I remember when we had this question for another person a couple months ago, it was something to do with taking the weight on for their children. One side was children and the other side was parents, or something like that. So I don't know if that applies or not.
Right,
but that's something to think about. And our dear friend Michael Brown.
And let me, I'll complete that. A right-handed person, right shoulder would be their spouse, and a right-handed person, the left shoulder would be their parents and children, and then vice versa if they're left-handed. So that could be where the weight of the world is falling on them for reasons to do with their partner or their children or their parents. And, a lot of people in the age group of our customers, they're dealing with aging parents and having to kind of carry them around. It's quite true.
Okay, very good. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Michael Brown was so cute. He says, Timmy, I'd give the doctor the cold shoulder. I thought that was sweet. Anyway, okay. Here's a question from Dodie, and then we're going to go to our phone calls again, 602-666-6027, and *5 on your keypad to raise your hand and let me know you've got a question or comment. I'll put you on with Dr. Dean. Dodie says, I've had a very itchy scalp for a few years. Went to numerous dermatologists who see nothing, was given lotion, shampoos to no avail. The itchiness is getting worse. What could be wrong? I've had several thyroid tests and everything is normal.
Itchy scalp, it's a type of, I think it's probably a type of yeast toxin elimination. That would be my first guess, is to look at doing a yeast detox, look at fungus, look at the antifungal, is it Selfin Blue? You kind of do some diagnostics with antifungal shampoos to see if that helps. But itchiness, I would definitely look at yeast overgrowth, and also making sure you're saturated with magnesium, because histamines can build up in the body. You can have itchy histamine issues, and that can be a lack of magnesium and molybdenum. And, of course, we have molybdenum in our remite. So I would look at those issues, Dodie.
Very good. Excellent, excellent. All righty, let's go to our phone callers. We'll start out by announcing your area code, 856, and then I take your phone off mute and say, welcome. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean, area code 856. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment. Hello? 856? Okay. Carolyn, are you there?
I had my line muted. Sorry. It's Kyle.
Hey,
Oh,
hi, Kyle.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, nice to hear your voice. How's it going?
Can't complain. It's winter in New Jersey, so it's no fun. Mm-hmm. I got a real crazy question for you, but
okay.
I've had a hard time consistently taking the Remag liquid, and I've started putting it in Coca-Cola. I drink these little 7-ounce Cokes, and I found that if I put a teaspoon in the Coke, then I do it religiously. So
that's the question.
The question is there any type of chemical reaction that would nullify the effects of the magnesium?
I don't think so. I mean, what you could do, Kyle, is do an experiment where you put the teaspoon in one of the Cokes and then let it sit for a day and then pour it out and see if there's a precipitate in the bottom, to see if there has been a magnesium binding up with there's a lot of phosphorus in Coca-Cola, but that would be your clue that it was being bound up and maybe just lost to you. So do that. I mean, I'm not a fan of Coca-Cola, but I like the fact that at least it's making you take the Remag.
Yeah, no, I don't drink a Coke without the Remag, so it works. I just hope it's not, nullifying the effects.
Right.
I just started doing this a couple of weeks ago, so.
Okay.
So
do the experiment and let me know, okay, Kyle? You can email Ginny or come back on the show and let us know, okay? But
okay,
tell me this. Tell me, is it helping your symptoms? Your back and whatnot.
Yeah. Yes. I feel better.
Yeah. Well, that's a good clue there. That's good. Okay, Kyle. Good. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for your crazy question. Take care.
All right. Nice talking.
Thanks, Kyle. Bye-bye.
All right. Very good. 602-666-6027. Again, *5 on your keypad. I'm going to go to area code 347 in the great state of New York. You're live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, Dr. Dean. This is Joan Sewell, and I really appreciate all of the teaching that you give us to help us to take care of ourselves and be accountable for our own health. My question, I'm piggybacking on the person before me. I have found that if I put organic lemon in my Remag and my Remite, and the salt, that it's like totally tastes wonderful. The Remag and the Remite don't even faze me. But when you said look at the precipitation in the bottom, to do the experiment, can you kind of reiterate that again so I can see if, I don't think lemon would do that, but I really don't want to nullify the positive effects by any other thing.
Well, a lot of people do use the lemon in their Remag Remite solution, and we've never had anyone mention a precipitate. But all you would do is just do a normal dosing of whatever it is, a couple teaspoons of lemon juice, and then put in your Remag Remite in the sea salted water and let it sit overnight, and see if in the bottom of the glass is any white substance, which could be a precipitate of the minerals. I'm going to do it myself because I have organic lemon concentrate in the house. I make Bob a drink with the lemon juice, just like sugar as a sweetener, some cayenne pepper and ginger. And so I have a lot of lemon juice concentrate, and I still don't like the taste of Remag and Remite. So you've reminded me, Joan, to get my lemon out and use it. So, but I doubt very much there would be a problem with lemon, the chemicals in lemon attaching themselves to the Remag or Remite molecules.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joan, for calling in. And over to Ginny.
Okay, let's go to, here we go. Okay, I just tried to take your phone off, and you were squeaking, and I wonder if you're listening through your radio. So let's try this again. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Okay, that's not going to work. So I know that you were trying to call in. You did hit *5 to raise your hand, but you are too close to your radio or something on speakerphone, and we can't have so let's try something else. Okay. Now, also *5 to raise your hand means when you go to your keypad on your phone and you hit the little star and then 5, what happens in my little computer here is it makes a little hand by your telephone number. So if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you just hit *5, and then I can tell it's you, and I'll take your phone off mute, because we have some people who are trying to get through, but they don't really understand the process, Carolyn. So let's try that again and see. In the meantime, we can go to mailbag and other things, and we'll try to get connected with this caller.
Okay, good. Testimonial. Thank you. I'm a huge believer in Remag, and probably they've helped me so much. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Bob just let the postman in. He's ripping boxes up in the hallway. Bob, which I can hear. Stop. I'm a huge believer. Remag and probably Remite have helped me so much. And I have, what, Bob?
Stop it, Jimmy. Stop opening the box. Get out of here.
It's not Jimmy, it's you.
The mailman started opening the box.
He did not. Stop it. She says, I've tried many, many dozens, probably hundreds of supplements for various ills and ailments. So I'm not easily convinced that something is working. It may sound odd, but I feel like the Remag helped me with a lifelong affliction, which was frequent urination, especially at night, which of course interfered with my sleep, and that was a double whammy because of my other lifelong affliction, insomnia. The Remag, of course, helped with the insomnia, but I think it helped with the urination too. I still have broken sleep, but it's so much better than it used to be. If I had discovered Remag years ago, my whole life would be different, as I have made many decisions, including career decisions based on my insomnia. So that's interesting, and what I wrote back was that when you take your minerals, and I don't know if he or she was doing sea salted water, but when you take your minerals and the minerals go into the cells, the minerals pull fluid from the body into the cells, from the bloodstream and all, but they don't allow edema to build up. They don't allow the water to build up in your bladder so quickly, because the water is in your cells and it's being metabolized. The water breaks down into hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. So it's no longer this liquid water that you drink in one end and urinate out the other. I don't know if I've made a big enough deal about that, but water is converted in its metabolism in the cells and is no longer just going to squirt out. So I think that's awesome, great testimonial, and explains how the structure and the function of the body are improved by getting your minerals. Another testimonial, Remag lotion works so well for tightness in the body. I had countless number of alternative treatments for it, but none as great as Remag lotion. I found it works for insomnia too, although I did not find Remag solution as helpful for insomnia, unlike lots of other people. I use Remag lotion on the calves and soles of the feet, give them a gentle massage, does not have to be vigorous, for blood circulation just before going to bed, and now I can fall asleep without a problem and remain asleep longer than ever before. A relief I have finally found after 23 years with deep gratitude. That's a customer from New Zealand, and I said, very interesting. Remag lotion may be getting into the muscle cells even better than oral Remag. The tightness of muscles can cut off the circulation and prevent the magnesium from Remag saturating the cells, but if you massage Remag lotion into the muscles, you facilitate absorption. So if the insomnia is caused by muscle tension, then the Remag lotion is going to work. Very cool. Over to you, Ginny, to see if you have any phone calls or if I just plod along with my testimonials.
No, I do have phone calls. I got connected with our wonderful person here out in the great state of Tennessee. You're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, this is Yali Wilson. Hello?
Yes, hello. Is
Hi.
it Allie?
Yali, yes, Y-A-L-I, Yali. Hi,
Yali.
Dr.
Oh,
Dean.
okay, good. So what do you have to ask me today, Yali?
Can I ask you two questions? Oh, am I limited to just one?
No, you can ask at least two questions.
Okay, thank you. I just feel very excited to find the products, actually. And the first question I want to ask you is about my dad. He is 78, and 5 years ago he was diagnosed type 2 diabetes. Mm-hmm. And right now he has been on the insulin injection for 5 years. But not only he has the diabetes problem, but also after a blood work recently, and they find out his homocysteine. Homocysteine is pretty high, and also triglyceride is high too, and BUN, BUN, and it's high too. So when I heard your message, I did feel I see some hope there. But my concern is some doctors said it seems the blood marker BUN is higher, and has to be, on a low sodium, low potassium diet.
Right.
And I just wonder if the reset products like the mineral, can he still take that?
Yes, in the Remite, which has a bit of sodium and a bit of potassium, they're really quite low. And when you read more of my information, Yali, you'll see that this business of withholding salt, they just mean the table salt, the sodium chloride. But I'm talking about sea salt, which has 72 different minerals, and we haven't even studied all these minerals to know what they're good for, but they're in nature. Animals like licking sea salt, and so and people feel good when they take sea salt. So, I mean, you can start your father on a little bit of the sea salted water and not worry, but you don't have to worry at all about the Remite. The homocysteine, that requires magnesium in order to metabolize the homocysteine, and also the methylated B vitamins. So our Realign has the methylated B vitamins. The Remag is the magnesium. With the triglycerides being high, is he eating a lot of fruit or much fruit?
Actually, I don't think he's on a very healthy diet. He has, eat a lot of sugar before. Actually, he likes candy, even for his age. He just has a sugar craving. And also, when you talk about the mineral, it clicked in my mind. He has the salt craving.
Right. So his body wants them. Yeah, and when you don't have enough of the minerals, you can the craving can go into sugar craving. And also, of course, sugar craving is the diabetes. But is your father overweight?
No. His weight is actually within normal range. He's not overweight at all.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's genetic or he's really not on a healthy diet for years. I'm not sure about that.
Well, will he change his diet though if you talk to him?
You know what? You are expert. If I told him I talked to an expert, then I think he will listen. Very, very, very stubborn man.
Yeah. That's a good idea. So what you do, the diet that would help your father is yeast detox diet, because with all the sugar, he's created yeast in his body that can give toxins and everything. And I have a book on it called Reset the Yeast Connection. So you can read it. If he wants to read it, he could read it too. But that and my book on Remag and Remite, they'll help understand how the homocysteine is a magnesium deficiency, the insulin. I mean, even becoming diabetic, it can be from mineral deficiencies. So it's all going to be helpful to him to go on the program, but going on a diet without sugar is going to be the most help.
I totally agree with you. You're talking about magnesium deficiency. I actually has asked him to take magnesium, the supplements. But I don't think the same quality as this product you're talking about. So I know that for sure.
Right.
But another, question for him is, I asked him to also take a fish oil called enzyme Q10, turmeric. And right now I also bought him, NAC, NAC, and also another one called S-taxin thing.
So
if he take the reset, the protocol, can he still take those other things, I listed?
He can take action. No, it's okay to take them all, but he wouldn't need to take them all. It's
okay.
on the protocol, we have a cod liver oil that we recommend because it's a fermented cod liver oil and butter oil that has vitamin A, vitamin D, and vitamin K2. And that gives you much more than just the high-dose fish oil. So when you read, you can also look at a blog I wrote called Dr. Dean Supplement Recommendations, and I have the whole list of just this pretty small handful of what a person needs rather than taking dozens of things. We just recommend things that really work. And
I agree with you. It's just I'm so concerned about him. That's why I bought those supplements for him. But based on what you said, I will get the reset on the protocol plus the fermented cod liver oil. Is that what you said?
That's right, and that's on our website as well, Yali. It's all listed there.
I didn't see that one. Okay, I'll get that one. Then he doesn't need to take turmeric or NAC.
Well, what he can do is finish up the bottles, but with turmeric, the reason it works for pain and inflammation is because it's high in magnesium. So I'd rather people just take more magnesium because
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so I don't need to take the rest of that. Okay, good. That really simplifies what he's going to take.
Simplifies, exactly.
He doesn't like to take a lot of supplements. I force him, But that's good news for him. That's really good news, very good news. And also, I'll tell him about the diet you mentioned. He needs to be really strict on his diet.
Yeah, and tell him tell him, Yali, I'm shaking my finger at him and saying, you should not be eating sugar. You stop that.
I will.
Okay?
I will. How about the rice? He likes rice with vegetable. And I actually recommend him not to eat starchy food, but it's hard. So what do you think?
Yeah, well,
rice?
bread. You can't. Yeah, bread is not so good. You'll see that in the yeast detox diet, Yali, about avoiding sugar, avoiding lactose dairy, and avoiding gluten grains. And all the diabetic diets now are saying that we really have to avoid those things. Yeah.
Can you give me like a simple recommendation for that? For example, can he eat meat or fish?
Well, it's all in the book. What you can do right now is email Ginny at support@rnareset.com, and she'll send you the yeast book with the diet and maybe the Remag book too. And then it's right there. It's like, click to the diet page and it's right there. Okay?
Well, wonderful. Okay, that's one question for him. But can I ask, do I still have time to ask you a question about me?
Oh, yes. They're good questions, so it helps everybody. Go ahead.
Good. The question about me is I'm, after the menopause, so the hormone is evident out of balance for years. And right now I'm on a bioidentical hormone. And also my thyroid, I actually have been on the, low thyroid for years. I didn't know that, hypothyroid, because I have found so tired for years. And I've been seeing all kinds of doctors. They decided you're fine, But finally, one doctor said your hormone, your thyroid is not functioning at all. So right now I'm also taking T3. It's purely T3 from bovine, I think. And trying to, my body can't convert T4 to T3. So with what I'm taking now, T3 and the bioidentical hormone, and can I use this whole set at the same time?
Yes, you can. And when you read my Remite book, that's the multiple mineral, it'll talk about the Remite. It has 9 minerals that are required by the thyroid. and it'll talk about the minerals that help the conversion of T4 to T3, and many, many people, including myself, taking the Remite, we were able to get off our bioidentical thyroid hormone. So
that's really my my wish. I really want one day I'm off those hormone stuff.
Well, the T3 isn't everything. There's a T1, T2, T3, T4. There's probably more. So when they just give you the T3, it's not balanced. And what the minerals do is they help the thyroid make all the thyroid hormones. So you'll see, you'll read about it. It'll slowly you'll improve. And if you find yourself getting a bit, your pulse is a little elevated, or you get a little too active, or maybe a little warm, then you have to check your thyroid hormones and probably cut back on your thyroid medication. Okay?
Okay. So meanwhile, I can still take the hormone using the bioidentical at the same time we're taking that, right? Taking the reset.
Yes. Together, everything together. Don't stop anything until you feel better, and then you can wean off the drug, okay?
Okay, but one thing about, in a whole protocol, there's one called RNA drop. I noticed it has a little bit gluten in it, but I have gluten sensitivity. It's not a celiac, but pretty severe. When I eat bread, I have diarrhea, just bloating, gas, diarrhea stuff. So I wonder if I can...
Yeah, let me ask Ginny, because we recognize that. And we have a package with the Renew drops. Ginny, do you want to tell Yali about that, how we get around the gluten sensitivity?
Right. And also just to say that there's very little teeny tiny bits of the gluten in the RNA drops. And so it's not like this massive amount. But for gluten sensitivity, we do have the Renew serum. And also, which is what you would use topically on your skin, Yali. And also you can test a bottle of the trial size bottle of the RNA drops for $14.99 to see how you do with them. So you don't have to invest in the full size bottle. Good.
But where can I find the Renew serum? I don't think I have seen that online, or maybe I missed it.
When you go to our website, RNA Reset, and then you hit shop at the top, and we have 2 pages of products. So if you don't see it on the first page, go all the way down, and in the right-hand corner, you'll see next page, and it'll take you to the next page, and it might be on that page.
So basically, the Renew serum, it's the same as RNA drop, right?
No, it's not the same.
It's a very strong concentrate of the RNA drops, but what you do with the serum is put it on your skin. And don't we have bundles? Yali was talking about getting the bundle, I think. Don't we have a bundle with Renew instead of RNA drops, Jenny?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't tracking with that. Yes, we do have a Renew bundle. It's called the Total Body Reset for Yeast, gluten-free, Yali. And so just look for the gluten-free. But you know what? Yeah, just look for gluten-free, and you'll see it. It's right there.
Okay,
and if you get stuck, just email me.
Okay. Well, another thing about the powder, protein powder, I really want to take the whole set actually, but I'm also have the lactose problem. I have to be lactose-free. And the powder does have the lactose in it, correct?
Well, that's another thing that is in a mini amount. I have a booklet on the restructure, and the numbers aren't in my mind right now. What is it, Ginny, like a tenth of a teaspoon of lactose in the restructure? Let me look.
No, it's 0.0625 milligrams, which is really a trace amount. Yeah, so it's a very nominal amount. And most people, Yali, who have any kind of milk or lactose insensitivity can work with the restructure. It's mostly pea and it's pea and rice and whey protein. So take that, divide it by 3. So only a third of it is whey, and then out of that third part that's whey, only 0.0625 milligrams of that is actually lactose. It's just so small.
Oh, so
it's really not
minimal. Yeah.
It's very minimal. And you can, and again, you can test it with just getting one packet. But yes, it's very minimal. And it's so super scrummy. I mean, it's the most delicious is what most people say. So I don't think you're going to have a problem with it.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me just say this, Yali. What you're expressing here, the hormones and the gluten and the thyroid, everybody seems to have those problems. And it's not. Oh yeah, we call it total body meltdown. Now you don't sound like that at all because you're taking care of a lot of it. But what I think is happening is the fact that people do have yeast overgrowth and they do have mineral deficiencies makes their thyroid weaker and makes their gut more sensitive. And what you would need, maybe your dad too, is the probiotic that we use. I'm sure you know about probiotics. We use
I'm taking it now, actually.
Right, of course. We use a soil-based probiotic that I think is very effective, and that's on our website too. So, there are things, the booklets you can get and read and, really understand that I've been at this for many, many decades. So everything I've done with this handful of products covers all the symptoms that most people have. So it's very comprehensive. Okay?
Okay. Great news. Well, I think I asked too many questions, but I really feel very, very grateful. Really. I feel it's God's blessing for me today. And I just want to say one thing. Dr. Dean, thank you so much for what you have done for people. And you just provide such valuable information. Just like at the beginning, Jenny said, really save a lot of lives. And thank you so much. I'm very honored to talk to you. Thank you. And you have a blessed evening and a blessed week.
Same to you. And do keep in touch with us. We're here anytime you need us to answer questions, okay?
I will. God bless you.
God bless. Aloha.
Hi. Thanks.
Okay, wonderful. What a lovely, delightful woman. Isn't that sweet? Thank you, Yali, for calling in. We finally got connected. We were having a bit of a trouble there, but we worked it all out. 602-666-6027 is the number to call tonight and talk to Dr. Dean if you'd like to talk with her. And you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will signal me that you're on the line with your phone hand raised, and I take you off mute. Otherwise, everybody's muted so we don't have background noise and this and that going on. So if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, *5. We'll put you on the phone. And other than that, Carolyn, let's click along and see. More testimonials.
They never stop coming in. There's no more questions. It's all just, and now I'm better. Here's another one, and it's about Remag lotion, and I do apologize that our Remag just sold out so quickly, and we're still in the beginning stages of creating this Remag lotion, and our manufacturer just wasn't able to keep up, so we've really lit a fire under them, and we should be getting our Remag lotion in the next couple of weeks. So I apologize because this is another testimonial. I absolutely love your Remag lotion. It has helped me so much with the hyperextension of my left knee. My knee does not give out on me when I use the lotion. Also because of a stroke, my eyes can't glance downward, but with the lotion working, my eyes can look downward. So there's something about the lotion that has improved the function of the eye muscles. I'm wondering, does this Remag lotion have to be used continually, or do you think the nerves will repair themselves in time from using the Remag lotion? I don't know. I know I don't want to run out of it. Now, and again, I apologize if people are running out of it. Magnesium is something that you will continue to take every day. It's not a drug that will kind of supposedly suppress a symptom and make it not come back. You're continuing to support the structure and function of your body with your Remag in liquid form or in lotion form. Next one, my 25-year-old daughter has Raynaud's. That's a lack of circulation in the fingers, causing colds, symptoms, and color changes. Unfortunately, we live in a climate that's not always conducive to warmth. Her condition primarily affects her fingers, and she can even get ulcers with the lack of circulation. She started taking the liquid Remag, but when you came out with the lotion, I purchased her a bottle to keep her hands moist. She says it helps. She still suffers from pain when she has spasms, but her recovery doesn't seem as severe. I just wanted to pass this along in case anyone else suffers with the same condition. Thanks so much for your wonderful products. So that's awesome. Someone else, the one thing I never told you about was I always had a problem with bloating that I felt contributed to my AFib attacks. And when I felt it, it would push up against my heart, causing a problem. Doctors looked at me like I was crazy. Since taking Remag, the bloat issue has subsided as well. It seems to have not only calmed my heart, but my stomach. I've been AFib-free for over 18 months now, and I still believe it's mostly due to Remag. Thank you. So thankful I took my health into my own hands. I did my own research and found you. That's cute. Jenny, anything else, or will I continue? This next one is long.
Go ahead and continue.
Okay, this is from a long-time customer, Ionette, and she said, I want to personally give you a comprehensive update regarding your recommendations to me this summer when I told you I could not tolerate the prescript assist for 2 years. As an expansion of these protocol, you recommended alternating Sovereign Silver and Diatomaceous Earth on a weekly basis. I did that for about 8 to 10 weeks, and now I'm taking Prescript Assist daily and experiencing significant improvement to my digestive system. So just to interject here, I don't know if it means that this person had parasites, but she had been doing the yeast protocol, couldn't do the Prescript Assist, and so the recommendation was the silver for bacteria and yeast and the diatomaceous earth for possible parasites. She says, I feel so much better and I feel different, very different. I spent a couple of weeks just a little weirded out by observing the difference in even my emotional responses, and that was bizarre. To consider that my actual personality seemed to change as a result of eliminating small particles existing in my chemical body. I won't talk about poop much, but since it's a vital part of this experience, I have to tell you how thrilling it was to see a normal stool in the loo. I'm now following your yeast reset protocol, and if I follow it perfectly, I have perfect results. The restructure with a scoop of your recommended greens and a tablespoon of ground chia seed is a daily must. But food isn't necessarily required. In fact, more often than not, food makes me feel icky for a while, kind of nauseated and very sleepy. Restructure has the opposite effect. My whole body feels good as soon as it hits my stomach. I get the little bodily thrill that I still get taking the RNA drops. Now I can experiment with myself. What causes negative effects more? Is it sugar? Is it dairy? Is it pasta? I think alcohol and coffee may be nasty culprits that I will continue to put up with occasionally because I do enjoy my Tuesday night out with a little buzz. And I love staying up all night with your hubby on Saturdays. That's on Bob's Saturday radio show, which is great fun with some extra caffeine. Although green tea did the job last Saturday night. My energy level remains low, and I continue to remind myself how much I've improved. I don't analyze it endlessly like I used to, and sometimes I get frustrated. If I fall back into the pattern of thinking, I immediately notice how my thoughts can drop into that negative, self-defeating, self-punishing place, and I move away from it pronto. I'm so much more patient with myself than I have ever been. I didn't even realize how blank hard I was upon myself for years and years. I'm going to start swimming at a nearby community pool because I do feel that it is time to do a bit of exercise. It's so wonderful living life with the knowing that I will never die. I suspected the fact for many, many years. Now I'm living it. So that was awesome. And
that's wonderful.
I know. These are people who've been on the products for years, and they're just fine-tuning and, constantly kind of innovating. It's wonderful. I can continue on if you're okay with that, Ginny?
I've just got one or two follow-ups here on the chat line, one of which was Shane wanted to say, following up with the psoriasis, do you know of any topical lotions for psoriasis? I assume the yeast protocol will take some time to sort out. Is there anything to help in the shorter term for peeling and pain?
Let me think. What is the name? I'll have to go to my cupboard because I have the name of, I think it's Kolorex. Kolorex. They have antifungal creams that I think would be useful. And I'm not finding it here we go. There's one for foot and toe care. I think someone just sent me a sample. Kolorex. It's a very, very safe, natural antifungal. It comes from a plant grown in New Zealand. I would use that along with some Remag lotion, but you have to be careful with the Remag lotion on open skin, like if you have open bleeding lesions of the psoriasis, which occasionally it can do, but you'd have to kind of practice a little bit with the Kolorex and the Remag lotion. Both of them together would be very helpful.
Carolyn, I thought you were going to say I have to look up my Future Health Now encyclopedia, and so I did. And one of the things that you wrote in there was about magnetic clay.
Oh, right. Right. The clay baths can be very helpful, and you can put up some salts in the clay bath as well. Enviromedica, Enviromedica is the new name for the LL's magnetic clay people. And you can get big boxes of clay and put it in your bath. But what you do with that is you'll take like a third to half a cup of clay, blend it up in a big amount of water, like the 32 ounces in a blender, and then pour that in a bath and line the bath. And again, if your skin is not broken, you can put some Epsom salts in the bath too, and that will help to detoxify the yeast toxins. Very
okay. And then Kathy typed in, FYI, I have been taking Restructure since October. I suspected gas and bloating I started experiencing was getting worse from the Restructure, so I stopped taking it for a couple weeks, and the gas bloating stopped. Tried Restructure this morning. Gas immediately returned. Thought Yali might like to hear this, so I don't know if Kathy's lactose insensitive. Maybe that's what she's implying, that there's something there that is not agreeing with her. is it the lactose, Kathy, that you're suggesting? So if you could clarify that, that'd be great. And Shane said, of course, thank you. Yep, no problem. No problem.
Right.
Okay.
With the restructure, now what's interesting about that is it is a concentrated food, and certainly some people can be allergic or sensitive to anything, so you do have to experiment, and that's what Kathy found out. But I just remind people that it's a whole meal, and so you would sip your restructure smoothie. You don't just throw it back, because that can sit like a lump in your stomach and be hard to digest and not be fully digested. So sip your restructure smoothie if you're having any sort of gas or bloating or even abdominal pain. And if you feel that your enzymes are sluggish, you might take some pancreatic enzymes and hydrochloric acid with your restructure as you would with a meal. So just be cognizant of those facts. And, people can, as I said, be sensitive to anything. I was just so thrilled that I could use the restructure, even though I sort of thought I had a bit of a dairy sensitivity. So,
right. One thing I found out about the restructure for my own personal is that I was blending mine with almond or coconut milk. And I thought, almond and coconut milk are the greatest things in the whole wide world. Oh, and they're so much better than dairy and blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, almond and coconut milk did not agree with me. And once I stopped using that and just started mixing my restructure with water, I didn't have any problems. So the restructure is intended to be mixed with water. And if you mix it with anything, with the coconut milk or other dairy products, or some people put all kinds of stuff in it, or they mix it with fruit, then that could also exacerbate, just like Carolyn's saying. So, yeah, I just, you are your own experiment. You got to kind of go with what's going on with you, too. So consider that when it comes to coconut milk and almond milk, That stuff can be harsh.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. I know. It's like our discussion about fruit. Fruit is awesome, but too much fruit is not awesome. It can be your, bit of a nightmare.
Right. Very good. Okay. Super Dougie San Diego typed in, with total biology, what is middle back issues from trauma? I don't know. There's a typo here, Dougie. Try to type it in again real quick to me, because it's not making sense, but we'll give it to you. Oh, and by the way, speaking of total biology, you know what? You should write this out to me more clearly, because Dr. Holt is coming on next week. Not that Carolyn's a punk, but Dr. Holt will be here, and we want to get some total biology questions for him, because he's a rocker. So listen, shoot me your total biology questions. And, of course, those who've been listening for a while know that's the conflict basis of disease. It's the emotional side. If you've got a persistent chronic situation, what Carolyn always says is the biological gets resolved, and if we've resolved the biological with all the proper nutrition and you've still got a persistent situation, then we have to go to the emotional. Dr. Holt's coming on next week. He kicks off our Heart Month with dealing with the issues of the heart and the body, the emotions of the body. Please send me your questions. Support, SUPPORT, at RNA Reset. Give me some good information, and we're going to put you on with him, and let him go to town and do his woo-woo magic. He's so much fun. We're going to have a fun show next week, you guys. So let's do that. Okay, Super Dougie, I know you're up for that. Carolyn, Belinda's saying, I've been on the complete formula for 18 months. My Hashimoto's is no longer an issue for me. Oh, wait, hold on. I have no idea what my thyroid numbers are, and I no longer spend the energy focusing on it. I sleep better, work better, and live better. Also, the restructure seems to work well for me as well, and a very small amount of Also, the restructure seems to work well for me, as well as a very small amount of raw goat kefir that I meet. Thanks to Dr. Dean, life has gone uphill. Woo! Blessings. Very good, Belinda. Oh, my gosh. I mean, let's just read that sentence together, people. My Hashimoto's is no longer an issue for me. You know how many people are struggling with that by the millions? I mean, tell all your friends to tune in here, and let's get everybody situated. Seriously, Belinda, that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. That's just wonderful. I'm really happy for you. Okay, and then Kathy types in, I did take enzymes, and I used coconut milk alone without restructured test, and I didn't have bloating. Okay, well, Kathy, you figured it all out for you. We're just making comments for other people. But good, you know, it's important that you figure it out for yourself. That's what we've got to do. That is what we've got to do. Okay, and then let's see. Dougie says he's going to get an MRI to look at the issue from long-standing spine. Okay, so Doug, could you send that to me at support@RNA Reset just so I don't forget, because, you know, I'm always multitasking when I'm on the radio with Dr. Dean, and sometimes these things do slip by me. So if you wouldn't mind, that would be fantastic. Okay, and I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll put Super Dougie on as one of Dr. Holt's questions. I mean, I could read from my notes, but there are many vertebrae in the thorax and the mid-back. So if you could define exactly where it is and all that for Dr. Holt, that'll be fantastic.
Okay, everybody, what an amazing show, wonderful contribution. Everybody's so wonderful. And Shane, I'm going to send your question to Carolyn because we don't have time to answer it for the end of the show. Dr. Dean did not say turmeric is the same as taking magnesium. She said there's a lot of magnesium in turmeric. Okay, but I will send your question to her and she can answer you in more detail. All right, you guys, it was a great show. Carolyn, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bob. And
thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jimmy the postman.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
Yay!
Till next time, so long, and thanks for all the fish.
AchieveRadio.com. Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.